If you've been doing some holiday shopping, driving around, and you noticed a clunk, a thunk, or a weird vibration with your car, our auto guy, Brian Bowersock of West Escondido Auto, is here to let you know if you're going to need Santa's help to make it go away. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
This is going to be your worst nightmare. Someone comes into the shop and says, I've got this clunking, thunking, noise, trying to describe it for you. How do you go about finding that and finding out if it is a problem?
Well, actually, obviously, we need to look at the vehicle. A lot of times, mount failures do happen, and people come in and they think their car's falling apart. I go to take off, and I hear this loud thump. I'm not sure what's wrong with my vehicle, things like that.
So when people come in, is that where you normally start? Is the mounts because that's typically a problem, or do you just have to start from scratch?
We just start from scratch. I mean, road testing the vehicle and then taking a look at it and checking it out. We see a lot of vehicles sometimes that it's more difficult if you don't know what you're looking for to determine. Mounts often fail, like several of these mounts will pull apart in the center.
So describe this. So this is the mount that it sits on?
This is a mount that the engine actually sits on.
Okay.
This would bolt to the frame and this bolts to the engine.
Okay.
This takes the vibration out from the motor running from coming into the frame, which would come up into the passenger compartment.
Okay.
So when these mounts actually collapse, that vibration will come into the vehicle. You'll feel it in the steering wheel a lot of times, or in the seat of the car or something like that.
So this is almost like a disc whenever in your back. It just really, yeah.
This is all hard rubber, and actually the center of this mount is liquid filled.
Okay.
So it cushions better. But what will happen is they can break and pull apart, but when the motor's setting at rest, just if you look at the mount, there's just a line around it, so you can't really tell unless you put the motor under load where you see the mount actually separate. And that's where the clunk can come from. And there's all different kinds of mounts. I mean, we got several types here. Some of them are built with safeties in them so they totally don't separate. Other ones aren't. But the rubber wears out on all of them. About
how long does it take before that rubber goes in most cars?
Most cars last quite a while as long as nothing gets on the mount to contaminate it.
Okay.
Oil often will cause, we know oil causes rubber to deteriorate, and when it does, the rubber starts to fall apart, and obviously it deteriorates rather rapidly.
So it can sound literally like your car is falling apart then if that motor, that heavy motor, is actually the vibrations are coming in.
Correct, because when you go to take off all the force of the motor will actually shift, and you can get a thunk out of it.
All right, Lou, these are things that people should be looking for, at least you look for whenever people come in and say they have a clunk or a thunk. So you need to diagnose the vehicle, the noise right away, just try to figure out what it is.
Correct, because broken mounts can cause other problems with vehicles, shifting problems with transmission, axles to break, things like that.
But not all noises are caused by the mounts, I'm going to assume.
No, absolutely not.
And so you have to go through the whole routine of things just to figure it out. Now, can that be expensive, just the diagnosis alone? Because so many different things can make rattles and clunks.
Correct. Usually not on mounts. I mean, if you take it to a quality facility, West Escondido Auto and Trans, AAA approved facility, somebody like that that's been working on your vehicle, you have confidence in. Broken mount, a separated mount is usually not a real difficult or time-consuming thing for somebody trained to diagnose.
And you were talking about oil, so do you have to look for leaks and that sort of thing as well?
Correct. If you have a mount that's been deteriorated by an oil leak on it, typically we will recommend, hey, you need to fix the oil leak, same time replace the mount. Otherwise, the new mount will deteriorate quickly and you'll be wasting your money. Another important thing to talk about with mounts is the quality of the mount. There are a lot of offshore mounts that are made rather cheaply. We're seeing things on the internet, stuff like that, and they tend to separate or fail rather quickly versus a quality factory replacement mount.
So once again, when it comes to your car, you get what you pay for.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to point out that the reason we're talking about this today is you actually had a viewer who wrote in and had concerns about this. So now they've got the answer, what you need to do.
Correct.
So how quickly is it, if it's a mount issue, do you need to get in right away, or is it something that you can wait just a little while? If you're out holiday shopping, you need to wait a week or whatever.
It's not an urgent thing as far as your car's not going to break down on the road or something like that. But I would recommend within a certain time, a few days or a week, get your vehicle in and get it at least checked out, find out what's going on with it.
All right. Thanks so much, Brian. We don't want to have any problems during the holidays. You got to get that shopping done. Well, if you do have a car question yourself or Brian, just drop him an email. The link to our website is on fox6.com. Just click on Hot Topics and you'll find Brian's link.